Alhamdulillah, wa afdal salati wa tammu salami ala rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we have an opportunity to hear some information regarding something that is very lacking in the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We're very good at eating, alhamdulillah, and finding the local and the nearest burger joint these days is a big thing. And everybody wants to find out the latest burger, the biggest burger, the challenges. Now they have challenges now, you see. Food challenges, how much you can eat within 25 minutes or to an hour, etc. And you get a free t-shirt and free meal, whatever it may be. And literally, we are actually eating ourselves to the grave. And I must say this before, that 1 in 3 Asians, by the time they're 45, will have diabetes type 2. If they carry on with the same diet that they are now. Lots of high saturated fat and lots of high sugars. Not just only Asians, but I've seen like the Somalian community as well. Very high carbohydrate diets, which are high sugars as well. So you're not only flooding your bloodstream with glucose from food, but you're also, on top of that, washing it down with fizzy drinks that are created to make you sick. If you do your own research, Coca-Cola, the way they make it, you are supposed to vomit. The amount of sugar and salt inside the can, it should make you vomit, but I put a chemical inside it to prevent you from vomiting. And if you research Coca-Cola hacks on YouTube, you will see that it's a good toilet cleaner. It's a good rust remover. It's a good painkiller for topical on insect bites and things like this. And in America, they carry gallons of it in the ambulances. Why? Because it cleans blood very well. So, and then we drink this. Okay, we all like our fizzy drinks. I like my Dr. Pepper too. But I have a cheat day, which is on a Friday. And I'm very conscious about what I drink, without feeling guilty, because guilt is the biggest emotional booster that makes you want to eat and drink more. Now the non-Muslims, when they're going through stress, they drink alcohol, go into drugs, promiscuity, whatever they may do. We Muslims, we don't do that. We just gorge ourselves with food and fizzy drinks and get a high from the food, because we eat so much of the food and the sugars. So I must stress to you though today that I'm not a doctor or a GP or a surgeon, but I have extensive knowledge in nutrition, in psychotherapy, regarding nutrition in psychotherapy in sensitive people that come up with bulimia and aversa and things like this. They have eating habits, wrong eating habits, and health, etc., which I qualify in. So whatever information I propagate for you today, it's information to help you. Okay, nothing is guaranteed. Okay. Shifa min Allah, and the cure is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's up to a responsible Muslim to go back after this and do your own research in health. Okay? So it's important to understand what nutrition is. Nutrition is about providing the body with nutrients, vitamins and minerals that the body needs to help heal itself and to grow. So when couples come to me for marriage counseling, one of the questions I ask them is, do you communicate? And they say, well, yeah, we talk. I said, that's not what I asked. Do you get across what you want to go? We all get caught up in non-communicative matters that it's very difficult to communicate to each other. The same way when people come to me for nutrition or hijama or general health and ask them, do you nourish yourself? Well, of course, I eat. I said, that's not what I asked you. Are you conscious about the food that's on your plate? Is it nourishing you, or you're just eating to fill up the gap in your stomach and feel better because you feel that you just full up, stopping the pangs of hunger? And the Prophet ﷺ said you must only eat enough to keep your back straight. You know, when you're hungry, you seem that, your stomach, nobody in this country gets that kind of hunger. But in his time, people hardly ate meat and hardly ate the way we eat now. So they're always hungry. Alhamdulillah, here you can open the fridge and it's like a shop, a chicken shop in there, or you go next door and get pizza or whatever. There's food everywhere. And because we take it for granted, we just eat. And I remember seeing a saying somewhere, it's written on the wall, that if you don't make time for health, then you must make time for sickness. Then sickness will make time for you, yani, within the sickness. It's like he who fails to prepare must prepare to fail. This kind of principle. And we Muslims have the sunnah way of eating. For example, the Prophet ﷺ said that the believer eats from one stomach and the non-believer from 7 stomachs. Meaning with greed and just eating just for the sake of eating. And I'm sure that sometimes we eat somewhere and we go somewhere else and someone says, oh, come and eat this a little bit, and you eat that. Then you go somewhere else, come eat a little bit, brother, and you eat. You end up eating so much and you gorge yourself. And that's very, very unhealthy. So, anybody here has diabetes? Type 2? So you're on metamorphin? You're on tablets, or you're taking it with diet? Just diet. And yourself, bro? Just diet. Okay, alhamdulillah. So the doctor who's not really a legal drug pusher in the sense, because that's what I call doctors, legal drug pushers. They have their place with all you doctors out there who watch this video and say, what is it the brother talking about? Legal drug pushers. And that's what I call them. When brothers come to me who are GPs, I say, you're a legal drug pusher. He says, well, how can you say that? I said, well, don't tell me you prescribe medicine. You do not prescribe medicine. You prescribe drugs for the pharmaceutical companies. And the drugs do have their place. But every single drug they prescribe has a side effect. If anything happens to you, has a disclaimer inside, you should have read the small print that tells you what are the side effects of that tablet. And some of them are very, very dire. Headaches and depression, and can cause diabetes. You know, other for example, statins for cholesterol, for example, can give you depression and mental problems, mind problems, and can cause type 2 diabetes. There's research that without enough sufficient daily vitamin D3 could help that you get diabetes, type 2. So it's very vital that you do your research. Don't just eat, but recognize what you're eating. Now, and I would never say to you, change your diet. I would say to you, change your lifestyle, which includes your prayers, praying on time, praying in the masjid. If they're lacking, then you have to fix that. So you are a machine that requires mental, spiritual, and physical stimulation and input for that machine to run properly. These days, people are suffering with a lot of mental illnesses because why? There's something wrong with the mind? No, in the Western sense, yes, because psychology is the knowledge of the mind. But the reason the mind is sick, because the heart is sick. And Islamic psychology and psychotherapy is this. You can't say Islamic psychology, because psychology literally means knowledge of the mind, but it should be heartology, qalbology. That's a nice word, isn't it? Qalbology. Knowledge of the heart. And it's very, very important that we understand this. That the heart gets sick, as the Prophet said in a hadith, that there is a lump of flesh in the body, that it becomes sick, the whole body becomes sick, and it becomes pure, the whole body becomes pure, and that's the heart. كما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. And this is vital to understand this, that we Muslims have to work on the heart. You have to nourish the heart. The nutrients of the heart is what? Adhkar and salah and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verily the remembrance of Allah do the believers find rest. That we have when you do istighfar, say 100 times, don't you breathe, don't you go, don't you, that happens to me. When I get stressed out, and you do your dhikr, and you do istighfar, etc., you take a sigh, and you just feel just relaxed, because the heart has now had nutrients to deal with it. Nothing wrong with the mind. I mean, there is obviously some issues that people do have that are serious issues, psychiatric issues. But that aside, the general populace and ourselves, we get mind sick because we get heart sick. And it's important to nourish the heart with the right nourishment, which is dhikr, not music, as one scholar said, muzak. Instead of in Prozac, you have muzak, which mongs you out, for example. And all these tablets you take for depression, the majority of the ingredient is fluoride. And fluoride is a dumbing, has a dumbing effect. It makes you listless, it makes you apathetic, can't be bothered, you know. And Hitler was going to use the sodium fluoride and put it in the water supply to America to what? Mong you out. But who's putting the water supply now? The water supply you're drinking now. The tap water contains sodium fluoride. And they say to you, oh, it's good for your teeth. And there's a lot of research out there, sodium fluoride does much more problematic for the body. If you want good fluoride, you drink green tea. But the water companies, they collect all the water from the sewage as well, from the toilet, all of it, and they filter as much as they can. They put in potassium permanganate, chlorine, bleach, sodium hypochlorite, and sodium fluoride, and they sell it to you for 20,000% profit. And you find out why you become sick and infertile, and affecting the physical aspect of the man and the woman. Don't take my word for it. This is all research. So whatever I say to you today, I've researched it, but I can't go into it because I haven't got enough time. So whatever I say to you, write it down and go and do your own research. It's vital. I don't use tap water for cooking or drinking. I use it for washing and cleaning. If I can get away with that, I could do that as well, but it's too expensive. So it's important. So diabetes basically is when you have flooded your body with sugar, your blood glucose levels are high, then the insulin is produced by the pancreas so that the insulin can take the glucose and put it into the cells. But sometimes there's not enough insulin, the body doesn't produce enough insulin, or you get insulin sensitivity. Okay? And then what happens is, after it has done that, generally speaking, and then there's more insulin in the body, it acts as like telling the body to store fat. So, and you don't put fat on because you're eating saturated fat or fatty things. You're getting fat because of the sugar, which spikes your blood, increases your blood sugar levels. So it's necessary for the body to produce a lot more insulin than necessary. If you ate normally, if you nourished yourself normally, then levels of insulin that is produced by the pancreas is enough just to take the glucose and put it into your cells to do the job. And if you have too much flood of insulin and the body can't handle it, then it goes into this mode whereby you get diabetes and the kidneys have to take over as well. And most diabetics, majority of diabetics, feel very dehydrated. Why? In order for the kidneys to remove the glucose through the kidney and through the urinary tract, it has to use a lot of water. And if you're not a person that drinks a lot of water, nay, I would suggest you drink a lot of coconut water, it rehydrates you better, then you'll get, the body will start taking water from your mind, from the brain, with a lot of water. So you get headaches, then you get a dry mouth, etc. And most people who are diabetic will feel this, because the kidneys needs a lot of water to remove the glucose from the blood. In the olden days, the way they tested for sugar in the diabetes or overburdened body with sugar or glucose is they used to taste the urine. If it tasted sweet, that means the kidneys are taking the excess glucose and flushing it out. Now there's blood tests to check your blood sugar level in the morning, and then you come back for a glucose tolerance test, and then you check it after 2 hours after you give glucose to drink and see how much the difference is between the fasting sugar levels and then the eating blood sugar levels. So it's important. And again, I reiterate that 1 in 3 statistically of Asians in this country, by the time they're 45, will get diabetes type 2 because of the diet. And it's not just, the Asians not monopolizing on diabetes. Then you've got a lot of other cultures and other creeds and other people that get it as well, but because of their lifestyle. Now, as you're younger, I'm not saying that children don't get diabetes. Of course they do. Pregnant women get diabetes too. I'm speaking generally. If you were to write down what you eat on a weekly basis and wrote it down, by the time the end of the week, you look at the end of the week and you think, well, did I really eat that much? That many carbs? That many cans of drink? That many fizzy fruit juice? Even fruit juice itself is full of fructose, is sugar. You will spike your blood. Even if you make it yourself, you make a lot of green juice. And that's cucumber, lettuce, spinach, celery, green peppers, green apples. If you want to sweeten it a little bit, then add a bit of apple juice or a few apples to sweeten it. Even like the karilla, karilla, and methi. Yeah, these kind of vegetables. All right, it's a bit kora, it's a bit bitter and everything, but it's healthy for you. It really does clean the blood. But how many of us are responsible enough to take this into consideration? Oh, it doesn't taste nice. Until you become sick. Oh, man, I should have taken a bit more care. Another hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that two things that we take for granted: time and health. This is why he said we should take care of our health before we become sick, and our money before we become poor. Because it's coming, the food. You think, if we lived in a country whereby the food wasn't as much as it is now, we won't take it as granted as much as we do now. We go and get very simple takeaway foods like chicken and chips and a can of drink. That you're spiking your blood sugar. There's no nutrients in that, really. And except for the lettuce they put inside the chicken burger. And a tomato maybe. So it's important to really think about our lifestyle changes, and you should really now, after today, I'll give you more information, that you tomorrow you start as you mean to go on. Yeah, I like my chocolate. My wife knows I love my chocolate. So I've gone from the cheap sugary chocolate to 90% dark chocolate. Oh, it doesn't taste very nice. Well, add some dry fruit with it. I like it, but the thing is, because we're so addicted to sugar, sugar is a drug. Scientifically, it affects the same part of the brain as cocaine does. The same part of the brain. They don't tell you that the sugar is a drug. Why? Because they're making billions out of it permissibly. They're making billions and millions out of it. So now there is alternatives, like coconut sugar, for example, which the body can utilize without spiking the blood too much. Did you know that those of you diabetic, you can eat sweet potatoes, which are better than English potatoes, which doesn't spike the blood so much? But 1 minute, brother, isn't sweet potato sweet though? Yes, but it works the opposite way. It doesn't spike the blood so much as the other potato does, even though sweet potato is more sweeter than normal potatoes. Taking green apple juice, green vegetable juice, including karela, methi, and all sorts of organic apple cider vinegar, for example. These all help your diabetes and cholesterol and fat burning and IBS and acid problems, etc., etc. So we can't be like children. We can't, except a mum come along and say, "Come on, eat. This is good for you." You get to a certain age, no one else says that unless your wife is caring, or your husband is caring, or your children are caring. No one is going to do it for you. Your mother may still do it if she's alive. Allah give her a long life. Your mother will still do it. Have you eaten? The first thing mothers say is, "Well, have you eaten?" Any caring person would make sure the other person eats. This shows you care. Is your belly full? Have you eaten? Growing up in my household, the first you walk in, have you eaten? First thing in a Turkish household, there's food on the cooker. Always food on the cooker. So some of us are very fortunate to grow up in an environment whereby the food is healthy. The Mediterranean diet, not the Turkish diet or the Cypriot diet, or you've got Italian, Spanish, all the Mediterranean, very healthy. Why? Olive oil. But the olive oil we get now is refined. And we use sunflower oil, it's better than vegetable oil, but it's still the same rubbish. Still refined oil. Best thing now is coconut oil. That's the best thing on the market. Cold pressed, first pressed, extra virgin coconut oil is the best thing. For brushing your teeth with, for fat burning, mixing with cinnamon, fat burning, or cooking with it. Yeah, but I don't like the taste. You're not a child, brother. Incorporate. No one's saying change your lifestyle like this, but incorporate slowly. Stay cut down. So I'm going to have a can of drink. Like my treat day is a Friday. I have a Dr. Pepper. Yeah, brother, how can you talk about it, but you have a drink? Well, that's my treat. But I don't mind having that because 90% of the time, I healthily, green juices and apple cider vinegar, and I'll make sure that the food that goes down my gullet and my family's gullet is good stuff. Before, I used to binge at night time, crisps and, well, not so much crisps, but sweet things, sugary things. Then I bought myself, oh yeah, cranberries, for example. Dried cranberries. But you look at the back, fructose, glucose corn syrup. This is such a dangerous product. It's in everything. It's in glucose corn syrup is in everything. Anything sweet, all the fruit juices, the fizzy drinks incorporate all glucose syrup. And it's spiking your blood all the time. 35 grams of sugar in 1 can of drink, 1 can of Coke. That's like what, 3 tablespoons? If I gave you a glass of water and I put 3 in there, would you take that every single day? You'd look at it and think, no, that's and then on top of that, 6 spoons of and 2 tablespoons of salt on top of that to balance out the sugar taste. We have to really be responsible about it, really. But be how can we say? Yeah, be responsible about it. Know what what's on your plate, what's going down. Once it's in, you can't take it out again. So watch what you're eating. Exercise, for example. How many of us exercise regularly? Go swimming, for example, or push-ups and sit-ups and something. Hardly. So we end up fattening ourselves up for the kill. And it's very, very important. Oh, I get my exercise, brother. I pray 5 times a day. No problem. But you're not doing it fast enough for the heart rate to increase. Not that you should do fast enough. I'm just saying it's not an exercise, is it really? You maybe keep your joints supple because you're bending and genuflexing, etc., etc. But you need to. I hate running. My brother says, "Come around my house and we go running." I said, "I hate running. I think it's boring. I'd rather go on the treadmill or do some rows or push-ups, etc., etc." We need to really, or skipping. So, but we're just eating. Imagine eating, and then you're not exercising. You're eating more carbs than you're necessary. More carbs than necessary. And on top of that, you're not eating. You're not doing anything to keep healthy. You feel healthy because the body is working on overtime now. It's like the boiler's ready to. The nuts are coming off slowly but surely. It's steaming out, ready to explode. But you don't know that until you get diabetes. And you get cholesterol problems, you get IBS problems, you may get Crohn's disease, na'udhu billahi min dhalik, and things like this. You may get cancer. Cancer's prevalent, it's like a cold now, like a flu. Everyone's getting cancer. It's unnecessary. Unnecessary to get cancer. There's different types of cancer, obviously. But cancer is a fungus. So when you hear the word cancer, don't call it cancer anymore, call it a fungus. Call it a fungus. You heard of candida? Candida is like a yeast. And if you're not taking care of your gut, as the Prophet ﷺ said what? He said the gut, your gut is death. And most illnesses, 99% of the immune system is helped by your stomach, your digestive tract, especially the colon. The colon is the end result of your food, which it absorbs the water before you defecate. If the bacteria get imbalanced between good and bad, and bloatedness, you eat and you get bread and you eat things and you get bloated. That's because you've got bad bacteria, and then you're feeding the bad bacteria and they're defecating gas. So you get bloated. So probiotic bacteria you need to take. Something called kefir. Kefir is like, you can get yogurt, for example, and you can mix it with a bit of water and just leave it there for a few days or even a week, and it starts bubbling up because it's getting fizzy and becomes fizzy because the good bacteria is growing now, and that's producing carbon dioxide. And when you drink it, people say, yeah, but you get ill like that. No, because you go to the toilet a few times because the bad bacteria is killing the good bacteria is killing the bad bacteria, and it has to come out somehow. After a couple of days of maybe you might get the runs or diarrhea, for example, it balances out and you don't get bloated anymore. So probiotic bacteria, checking the healthiness of your gut. Candida is a yeast. If it starts growing and it goes into your bloodstream, goes into your cells, then it starts growing as a fungus. And it loves sweet things, it loves sugar. It thrives on sugar and carbohydrate. And it lives in an acidic environment. So it eats sugar and produces acid. Hence the term aggressive cancer. But to reduce that is to keep your body alkaline, which means lots of green vegetables. Cut down the sugar, cut down the carbohydrates. You know, no bread, no pasta, no potatoes. Rice, okay, 150 to 200 grams of cooked rice per day. If you feel a bit tired because there's not enough carbohydrates coming in to give you the energy, then you can have a banana. If you find yourself putting a bit of weight on, even though you're not eating enough carbohydrates, eat a bit more rice. So a bit more energy to burn the fat. It's about knowing the nutrition. It's about knowing this and researching it and knowing yourself. You go to the doctor and you think he knows you. The doctor doesn't know everything. They don't know everything. You go to the doctor sometimes, if what he knows, he knows. Well, it doesn't, he goes, I don't know, it could be like this, it could be like that. Well, if you don't know, who knows then? And they've only been around 200 years, near enough. So who's the alternative medics? Them or the traditional? People before the doctors came, they were dying. They didn't know how to treat themselves. They treated because they ate natural foods. No processed foods, all these E numbers and whatever. Natural foods they ate, which the body can utilize in a good way. Apple cider vinegar, an apple a day keeps a doctor away. It's a true saying. An apple cider vinegar is not like what you buy from like Tesco's, the clear, or the Turkish shops, or the other countries' vinegar, apple cider. It is apple cider vinegar, but it's not the one that you should take for health. The health one is unpasteurized, it's raw. It's straight from the apples, straight into the bottle and sold to you. It's organic with the mother. The mother is the bits in it, which are like good enzymes, minerals, etc., vitamins that you need. And even though it's 5% acetic acid, it's over 60% potassium. So it hydrates you as well. And it helps balance out your acidic stomach. So I'm balancing my acid reflux. I'm balancing my acid problem in my stomach with more acid. But it works. It works. Apple cider vinegar is good stuff. It's not medicine, but it's high-end nutrition. It helps balance the blood sugar. It helps remove fat. It helps balance out the cholesterol in the body. It's very important. I won't go too much more into meningitis because supplements, for example. Do you think you get your daily vitamin and mineral intake from the food that you eat after you've cooked it and killed it? Once you've cooked the food, that's it, it's done. That's why now this new fad that's been out for a long time, raw foods. Who's got a juicer at home here? A juicer? 3 of you. That's cool. Everyone should have a juicer at home. Everyone should have a juicer at home. Every Muslim at least. They should know about health. And you juice. Every few days, make a litre of juice. 1 or 2 litres a week. And you drink half a glass, 1 glass a day.
What type of juicer do you recommend?
A slow juicer. Because of the research, you've got ordinary juicers with a centrifugal juicer which spin it really fast and oxidize the juice. And they said that it reduces its nutrient content. But a slow juicer crushes it. So there's so much oxidation happening. So you get more of the nutrients. Allahu Alam. I've got a slow juicer. You can buy it for 60 quid and up to 300, 400 pounds. Easy. I'm sure everyone can afford 60 pounds, 50 quid to buy a juicer for the health. Just cut down on the rubbish you're eating and save the money and buy it for the health. And if you were to just juice every day and have some carbohydrates and a bit of protein, you're safe. You don't, in order for us to get vegetables down our gullet every day to be healthy, you need about this much. And that's painful. I mean, no one can eat this much vegetable. So juice this much, and you get about a litre and a half, and that'll last you for a few days. If you left it, if it becomes bad, that means you're not drinking it enough. It takes about 3 days for it to go bad. But if you put some lemon juice in it, some vitamin C or ascorbic acid, you can buy it in powder form, then it gets a preservative and you get your vitamin C as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there that you can really research and really look after yourself. And Islam teaches us about prevention. But these days we're brainwashed. If I get sick, subconsciously, you don't say this, but subconsciously you say it. It's like the person who says, I say, smoking is haram. And everything's haram, but what can we do? That kind of attitude. So the same attitude we have is, if I get sick, I go to the doctor, gives me medicine, I'll be cured. No, but everything, you go to the doctor and you say to them, I've got this issue, that issue. Okay, take this. You come back 6 weeks later, it didn't work. Okay, try this. Well, what am I, a guinea pig? You're giving me drugs. And the philosophy they have, when you say to them, or when I've spoken to doctors and GPs and legal drug pushers, as I say, well, every single thing has a side effect. Yeah, but the good outweighs the bad. I said, if I gave you a glass of juice and I said to you it's got 0.0000001% cyanide in it, would you drink it? Of course you wouldn't. Yeah, but the good your principle is the good outweighs the bad. So I'm going to take this medicine, so-called medicine, which is a drug, and I'm going to hope I don't get the side effects. What is that? Basically making money for the pharmaceutical companies. And they're not going to tell you there's cancer has a cure. You go and look on YouTube. Diabetes, you will cure your diabetes within 3 months if you're disciplined enough. You can cure your cancer. Go have a look at the people who got cancer on YouTube and how they cured themselves with sodium bicarbonate. Why sodium bicarbonate? Because it alkalines the blood, which stops the acid from the fungus from growing in the acid because you've alkalined it, the body. So it's vital that we really take the bull by its horns and do what needs to be done. And not become like children and do what we feel like doing until you become sick. And you could become sick and say, oh, I've got flu, and 3 days, okay, I'll take 3 days off work and I'll be okay. But that's not necessary. You don't have to have flu. But it's become such a norm. Oh, I've got flu. Soon it's going to be like, oh, I've got cancer. I remember a story, some people are proud to become sick because why? They like the attention. It's like they're seeking approval with it. I remember I was in a Turkish food centre and there was an uncle in front of me looking for yogurt. I said, Uncle, can I help you? He said, I'm looking for yogurt, my son. I said, well, Uncle, he goes, no, but I want one without potassium sorbate in it because it makes my stomach lemony, like ekşi, it makes me like acidic. So I found it for him. And then he goes to me, I've got a heart problem. I feel like saying to him, well, congratulations. It's like when the way they say it to you, especially in my community, the Turkish community, Cypriot community, they like to boast about their illnesses. Oh, I've got a heart problem. I've got diabetes. It's like saying, well, and it's like they want to cuddle and they want like some attention. You don't have to have these illnesses. These are post-traditional medicine illnesses because of the society and the packet foods and the processed foods. And I went to a barber's today and the brother's having his breakfast tea and digestive biscuits. Now, don't get me wrong, the best biscuit out there is digestive biscuit. And you've got to have 5 in one. You can't have one. You've got to have 5 and dob it, you've got to hit it in the tea. That's the taste of it. But come on, for breakfast you need protein. You've just gone through like an 8-hour fast. The last time you ate was like 9 o'clock in the morning, in the evening. So you've woken up at Fajr, say like 9 hours later, the body's craving nutrients now. And tea and biscuits, it doesn't work that way. When you get fat and diabetes, you wonder why you got it. You can't say, well, I've got diabetes. It's not a disease that you catch. It's not a virus. You caused it with your irresponsibility and your lack of knowledge. It's prevention. It's prevention. You would never blindfold yourself or your children and tell them to walk across the M1 whenever they feel like it. But that's how we're walking through life. That's how we're living our life, blindfolded. You've got to take responsibility for it. You want to take your son or your daughter and say, there's a big forest, and I'll meet you, I'll meet you on the other side. And it's full of dangers. This is life. So Allah's given the Qur'an and Sunnah for us to guide ourselves through life. And one of those guidance is nutrients. And it's very, very important. So, first of all, spiritual nourishment. Okay? We have to sort out our prayers, or some of us. If you're not doing in the masjid, try and pray in the masjid as possible. If you're not doing your sunnah, try and increase your sunnah, etc. And then mental nourishment is you are what you read. And in cognitive behavior therapy, in that aspect of psychotherapy, is the principle is you change your thinking to change your behavior. So you are what you read. You are what you eat. You are what you see, what you hear. You are a end result of all those years of input, of whether it be nutritional, non-nutritional input, non-nutritional mental input, non-nutritional physical input. Now it's time to change and get into nutritional. And we have it there. We have all the information there in the Quran and Sunnah. And from the dunya knowledge in health. But we don't utilize it. Because what? We think we know it all. We think we know everything. That's just an old wives' tale. Tap water, for example. Tap water. We've got about 10 minutes before we stop, inshallah. I'll stop. Who drinks tap water? Well, let me educate you, as they say. Tap water, as I said earlier on, is a collection of every kind of liquid, wherever they can, even the sewage, etc. And they filter it, add the chemicals and sell it to you for 20,000% profit. Yeah, but it's clean. Is it? Don't do your own research. If you distill 3 liters of tap water, you will end up with 1/2 to 3/4 of a glass of yellow liquid. And that's someone else's wee. I've got to be blunt with you. Or feces, and all that stuff is in there. But because you can't see it, doesn't mean it's not in there. They can't filter it absolutely 100%. Yeah, they can't filter 100%. If they could, they wouldn't put all those chemicals in it. Potassium permanganate and sodium fluoride and bleach.
But they can't dig a well in this country to take the natural.
Good point. It's the Queen's land. She'll never let you to do that. But you buy tap water, you buy bottled water. Oh, what about the plastic and the BPA? Well, I would rather have that, because then I can counteract the effects of BPA through my diet. But I'm not going to drink someone else's wee-wee or cook with it. But what about filtering it? Well, if you could filter it, then if they can't filter it completely, then how are you going to do it? And if you boil it, you're only reducing the content. And what's evaporated is what's evaporated. What's left is still that. All you're doing is killing the bacteria, but it's still there. It's still there. And you can buy water now. I mean, in Highland Spring is good water. It's taken from Scottish organic land. You know, Evian is a bit expensive, but bottled water is good for you if you find like Evian and Turkish water is over 8.2 pH value, which is alkaline. Coconut water for drinking, for example. And I know none of us here drink more than 2 liters of water a day. Hardly even 1/2 liter. Hardly 2 glasses. So you're always dehydrated. Always dry here, always getting headaches, always feeling tired. And don't mistake tiredness for being tired. It's not. You're dehydrated most of the time. You're not taking enough hydration. And coconut water hydrates you immediately. It contains, because when you sweat or you exercise, you lose electrolytes like magnesium, potassium, sodium. Once you get dehydrated, why do they give you a drip and not just give you water? It's not sufficient. They give you a drip of sodium, potassium, of electrolytes to balance out the body sugar. Now, do you know you can kill yourself for drinking too much water? Because it over dilutes the electrolytes in the blood. People have died from this. So it's about a balance. And that's with everything in our deen. It's a balance. Coconut water has the same constituency as your plasma in your blood. And they used to use it as a drip, as a drip. They can use that as a drip, naturally. So incorporate that in your diet. 2 liters of coconut water a week, 2 liters of green juice a week, Carbohydrate. If you're not training, and your job is not physical aspect, your body's not really, it needs to do the physical work. And the food, I will guarantee the food you're eating is overeating. Too much carbs. You don't need that many carbs. If you are doing a physical labor, or you're training as well and all that, then you need carbs. Obviously you need the energy for it. But all we're doing is just eating, getting sick or getting fat. And that's it. There's no grey area here in this point. Because if it comes out in the loo, if your feces and defecation, all that, that's the extraction. But then what's being taken out, they just put in, it's just fat, excess fat, unnecessary. So prayers, exercise, nutrition, taking care of your heart, for example, sleeping. I don't mean sleeping 12 hours, but how many of us here get 8 hours I don't. Maybe once, maybe every couple of weeks, I might get a 8 hours or 9 hours, and then I feel guilty. And 5 hours is enough for me, from personally 5 or 6 hours, as long as I don't wake up. As long as I wake up once or twice, then I'm a bit, I wake up like this sort of thing. So the whole point of today, what we can take away, is self-responsibility, self-accountability. One of the things that Allah will ask us on Day of Judgment before we move an inch, we're going to move an inch this way or anywhere until we answer 5 things, is our youth and how we spent it, our health and how we took care of our bodies, how we took care of our wealth, how was it halal or haram, did we disseminate knowledge, how we got it, etc., etc. As what Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. But it's like, we shouldn't be like leaves in the wind, in the tree, where the wind blows this way and we blow that way. When the wind blows this way, we blow that way. Until somebody comes up and says, bro, come on, shake you up a bit. Oh, thanks, bro. I needed that. Then you go back to be a leaf again in the wind. We have to take responsibility, for ourselves first, our family, community, and the Ummah. But we can't say, right, I'm taking care of myself first. Deen is comprehensive. You take care of yourself, your family, the community, and the Ummah, as much as you can. And I'm sure most of us now can do much more for ourselves, health-wise, spiritual-wise, our families, health-wise, spiritual-wise, and community and Ummah, than we are doing now. Much more. Much more. Being moderate in eating your food, as I mentioned. And there's we know the hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam where he said that, like what he said, that you eat a third food, third of water, and third for air. And there's a good story about that, and I always tell this story. In 2004, I was in i'tikaf, and there was brothers eating, and we were just talking. And one brother was telling a story that he was somewhere before, and there was another gathering of eating. One brother was a big brother, mashallah, and he was eating. And one brother said to him, brother, don't you know the hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam where you have to have a third for food, your stomach, third for food, third for air, and third for drink? And the brother turned around and said, yes, my third is different than yours though. So here we understand 2 things. One, that when we disseminate knowledge, the person that hears it may know the fiqh and the understanding of it more than you do. Yeah? And secondly, that we have to take the hadith in literally as in consideration, that not to eat too much. Not to eat too much. The mu'min eats with 1 stomach, and the non-believer in 7 stomachs. Now it's like the other way around. You've got these health fanatics out there who are non-Muslim, and then the Muslim is just eating from 7 stomachs. A big burger joint here, the biggest burger, competitions. It doesn't make sense. There's a lot of diseases out there that we can get just from and also I would say the other way around. There's a lot of diseases out there we can prevent diseases from nutrition. In the same way that if we don't get nourished enough, we open ourselves up for the kill. We get all sorts of different, and diabetes and cholesterol and IBS are not things that you catch. They say it's a disease. It's not a disease. It's a dis-ease, but it's not disease. It's because we have a lack of knowledge. And it can be cured. You can, if you degenerate, you can regenerate. Unless you've got no pancreas at all, and you've got type 1 and you have to inject yourself. There's different types, obviously. But generally speaking, we don't have to have the main diabetic problem, which is type 2 diabetes. We don't have to have that. We don't have to have a cholesterol problem. We don't have to have IBS and things, stomach problems. If you've got a stomach problem, it's because of diet. It's because of nutrition or lack of nutrition. Detoxing, for example. Exercising, sweating, going to a sauna, sweating is a detox for your skin. Hijama, which we'll talk about after Asr as well, is a detox. It's one of the best detox known to man. It's vital. Exercise is a detox. You can use nutrition as a detox. You don't have to exercise, for example. I'll give you an example here. That you can use, diet can be used to shape your body. Everyone has what they call an Adonis self, as you're created in your muscular, for whatever muscle you have. Can be, you could look good if you check your diet, and you can get cut up and have a six-pack and whatever that everyone's chasing for by a diet alone. But that's, have to know how can I shock the body. If you know how to do dieting and nutrition, you can shock the body. And everyone's individual. Once you get on this path of nutrition or that, you will learn how to do this and things like that. For example, if you're on a healthy diet for about 3 months, then you go on like a few days of just garbage, of junk. That's shocking the body. Then come back onto nutrition. Then the body will just adjust itself and start losing weight. Coconut oil will lose weight. Cinnamon will make you lose weight. Apple cider vinegar will make you lose weight. Not eating the wrong foods will make you lose weight. And it's vital. It's vital. And I end on this point, on this beginning of this topic is, and eat of the good things which we provided for you, eat of what is lawful and wholesome on the earth. And I don't think a nice $9.95 mega burger is wholesome. I like a burger, but the reason I'm saying it, whatever I tell you to do, still have my treats. But I'm just trying to that make your life 95%, healthy. And then you can treat yourself now and again. You don't have to treat yourself. It's unnecessary. But if you want to, then you can say, okay, I'm going to have a burger because I haven't had one for like 3 months, 4 months, for example. Wholesome foods, organic foods. Oh, organic food is expensive. Not really. Not really. Because how much of vegetables do you eat every single day? 3 or 4 times a week. So buy the organic stuff. And if it's too much and it's going to leave it and get bad, for example, a packet of organic kale, packet of spinach, etc., things like this, is a lot. But if you juice it all, like I said, you make 1.5 to 2 litres of juice. And you can finish that within a few days, a glass or 2 a day. And you get healthy at the same time. And let's stop there, inshallah, for Asr.